Good evening, everybody. Hopefully, this is the last take that I do. This one's getting posted no matter what. We're going to get through this video. Welcome back, everybody. Good evening, or whatever time it is for you guys. It's currently evening right now for me. And welcome back. I'm glad you're back, guys. So, the title, it's been I would say a turbulent 3 years. I've been really thinking a lot about my past recently, and this is a great time to do it. I'm in my own space. I'm not in my parents' place anymore. I was earlier on, which I'll get into a bit, but I'm on my own again. I'm really happy about it. For anybody that's in their mid 20s, you're supposed to be independent. Like, there's no, I get that things cost a lot. I get that some people have to live with roommates. I'm very, 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 very blessed and lucky to have family that has allowed me to help me out and get me my own place, which I'm extremely thankful for. And I know that a lot of people don't have family help, which really sucks because I've I've worked with people. I worked with one guy before, and he was practically homeless. Like, the guy didn't really have any family support. He actually ended up giving his dad basically his entire paycheck because he got into some really bad debt, and he or some payday loans that he couldn't pay off, and he had to pay him, which was really rough. And he had to help his dad, but in return, this guy that I worked with, he got nothing. And they just it just puts things in perspective whenever you have somebody like that that has no family. It's like, well, you don't really know how many people would, like, absolutely kill to be, not not figuratively, but would absolutely love to have support from family. And that's how I'm here right now. Would not be here without that. I'd probably be, not that I wouldn't be on my own, because I need to be independent again. Like, I'm 20, I just turned 27 now, and I had a moment where I came back to my parents' house last year, and things were not good. There was conflict, there was disagreements. Um, you don't really have any privacy. You have expectations when you're there, which I can understand. But at the same time, at this age, you're supposed to be on your own. You're supposed to be building yourself. You're supposed to be forging into your life. And just regardless, like, even if you have to be, like, when I worked the last 2 years, like, I had to, bunk with, well, not, in my room, but share, a common space with like 15 people. So, that was a, great experience because I learned a lot and I met a lot of cool people and I made a lot of friends. Unfortunately, all of those are distant friendships now. They're very far away. Everybody's pretty much dispersed and kind of back on my own again. And for the first time, not for the first time, but I'm kind of, I'm not feeling, I'm feeling like I want to get back out again and meet more people. But the problem is, this area that I'm in, because I have to be working in this area, I'm kind of staying here for now. Now, I am doing my own gig work. I currently am doing some commercial cleaning. I'm like an independent contractor, and I also do some deliveries to kind of fill in the gap. It's just, for now, it's just enough to pay the bills, but I do want to start something online. This channel, by the way, is a goal that a, a vision that I've always had, that I wanted you know, to make and talk about. And here we are, we're talking about stuff. So this is a great start. And I have so much to talk about, but I can't, if I were to talk about every single experience and every single story and every single thing that I've learned, this video would be at least an hour. So I have to break it up. I talked about before my previous work experiences and stuff like that. But so I would describe the last 2 years for me like this: roller coaster ride. You, I can, call it turbulence. Um, just not, I would say not stable, but I've had periods of really high moments, great moments, when you have, bursts of energy, bursts of um, happiness, fulfillment, and then low points where everything seems to crash, nothing's working. It feels like the universe is just pushing you and pushing you and pushing you just to not move on and to stay stuck in your little box, your little environment, and not grow as a person. And I would say that I'm now in this moment. I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm down like when people say they've hit rock bottom, but I am at one of these low moments. And this really started the beginning of this year. Um, I'm going to save this for another video, but I had a very mind blowing, weird, very strange thing that happened to me. Um, you can, whatever type of imagination you can come up with. I don't really want to say it in this video. I don't really want to, um, yeah, I just don't want to mention it for now. But it's changed it's changed me. I felt psychologically changed after what happened to me beginning of this year, which I can't even describe to anybody. Like I don't really have anybody like maybe you guys can sort of relate to if you know what I mean. I don't know if you do. But I don't I'm a pretty private person, so these types of stories I've been really hesitant. I was even hesitant to tell my family about because I don't think anybody would believe me. But anyway, um what was I about to say? Yeah, I'm not ending this. I'm not ending this video. I'm gonna keep going. I'm winging it right now. But okay, yeah. So sorry about that. So last year, that was the year where I had to come back to my parents' place. Now, I was pretty disappointed that my career path, well, my job that I thought was going to turn into a career for me and, I can, so I would move up the ladder there, didn't end up working out. So with that, I had to fall back on my parents. And at 26 years old at the time, I'm now just turned 27. Moving back with your parents after that amount of time that I was independent through, I would say from the age of 23 to about 25, I was pretty much doing my own thing with this job that I had um, goals for. And so yeah, that didn't end up working out, and I did not have enough financially. I did not have enough funds to support myself in my own place financially. So I ended up having to move back in. And at that age, that is probably the worst thing in terms of privacy, in terms of boundaries. I did not like I was expected to go get a 9 to 5 to which is nothing's I don't think there's a lot of talk about 9 to 5s and people not doing them. There are great things about it, and then there are not good things, not great things about it. For me, it's just it's not for me. Um, the stress for, there's, you do have a steady paycheck, I understand, but for me, that's always been like the money aspect of it. I really, it's just me being under an employer, I just can't do. I'd rather do my own thing. I'd rather work the way I work, schedule the way I want to schedule, work whatever hours I want to work and be okay with that. And that's what I'm doing now. Um, but going back to last year, I was expected to get a 9 to 5, which I had to do. And now this was a smaller business. It was a guy that did some landscaping. I've done this previously before. I'm really good at it. I'm really detail oriented. I do a great job. I know how to, I know how to mulch. I know how to cut grass. I know how to do some basic hardscaping, that kind of stuff, some trimming. So I worked with this guy for a bit. He was around this neighborhood that my parents were in, and I just felt that I needed to go somewhere. I just felt like that was a year where I just needed to explore. I needed to go travel. You know what I said to myself? I'm like, I want to go travel. I did have some, credit that I can use at the time, some credit cards, and um, looking back, it was not the wisest decision because, getting into debt and not having a stable job, there's consequences for that later down the line. So I decided to do that anyway. I went to Europe. I was a little bit of a rebel. I just said to my parents, sorry, I don't want to be here right now. I made Okay, just had a little pause there, but to continue on, there was a lot of last year, there was a lot of conflict that I had. Yeah, moving back in with my parents, and just the feeling of just being trapped there because of, financial reasons, and just, whenever I'm back there, when I came back there, I just felt like I was just so stuck, man. Like, I'm like, what am I going to do? I'm here now, and I just felt like everything just sort of crashed at that moment. I just, when that career path didn't work out, I came back there and it just felt like, oh, everything was over. But last year I said to myself, you know what? I feel like taking a trip. I feel like traveling somewhere. Now, Europe came to mind, and and it was Portugal and Spain. So I went to those two countries at the beginning of September, and man, like, I had a blast. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I I learned a lot about their cultures there. Um, it, I spent a good 3 months there. Now, um, you're gonna ask, well, how did I do it financially? Was I working? Did I have money saved up? Well, I did have some credit cards that weren't tapped into yet. Oh boy. And yeah, I'm gonna look back on these videos, you know, I'd say probably maybe within 10 years and say, wow, was I so stupid? Or wow, was I just young and dumb, right? Just not a care in the world about finances, but I said to myself, well, I'm single. I don't have a family yet. Um, I have some, free time, which I just had to tell my parents I just can't be in this environment anymore. And I have plans and I want to go to Europe. And um, their reaction didn't really didn't really agree with it, but I decided because I'm 26 years old and I have available funds to go on this excursion that I'm going to do it. And I went there, man, and I'm not going to lie, like, you know, I know financially it's not a good decision, especially when you're using funds that that you probably won't be able to pay back. Um, but the experiences I got there, like, I learned a lot about the cultures there. I had great food. Oh boy. Oh, Matt, like, buddy, like, you're gonna in 10 years from now, you're gonna be looking back on these videos. Sorry, I'm talking to myself, but man, like, great time, but financially just not a good decision. So, anyways, I ended up going there and I met a lot of cool Europeans, did some surfing, did some fishing. um, sorry, guys, just I'm like reminiscing about that. But um, that was kind of like my inside rebel. Like, I needed to escape because when I was at my parents' house, I was stuck. I was not doing anything. I wasn't meeting anybody. Um, And although I was unemployed, which people may or may not agree with, I just felt like I wanted to go. I wanted to go out. I wanted to travel. I didn't really get the chance to, during the pandemic. I had plans before that to go, and then the pandemic hit, and I didn't kind of follow through on those plans because of the travel restrictions and whatnot. So I just said, you know what, I'm gonna do it this year. And it just so happened to be kind of like a build up, of me just saying, I can't be in my parents' house anymore. I came back here, because I didn't really have anywhere else to go. Um, and was not a good decision. I could have, stayed with a friend, you know, room, got a room with somebody, but I just ended up going back. But so as for this mystery experience that I had that kind of changed myself at the beginning of this year, that's going to remain a mystery until I feel kind of confident enough talking about it so I don't seem crazy. So that'll be for another video. I'll leave you guys with a little bit of a cliffhanger there, but hope you guys enjoyed this video. Plenty more topics to talk about, so stick around. It's going to be a very interesting channel, that's for sure. Um, Very interesting channel for sure. So stick around, guys, and if you like this video, give it a like and make sure you subscribe because a lot more is coming your way. Have a good night, guys. Peace.